words about books, Ben?
Some words about books, Nate.
You ready to get bobbed on one more time?
Well, yeah, that joke worked so well the first time. I guess we're just going to tell it again. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Ben. So, what do you remember from last time?
Mostly that Bob, I think, has been killing the spouses of his friends and people he wants to claim for himself, and then saying that they just mysteriously died. And then he refused to respect the wishes of his lover to not be digitized, going so far as to like viciously mock her daughter for trying to preserve the only wish she had ever heard her mother say. That part really stuck out to me.
Yeah, but he felt really bad about some of that.
He felt bad about the wrong things.
Yeah. And you know, her daughter was being kind of mean.
She wasn't giving me what I wanted, so
that's why I should be allowed to fuck your mom. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no. So I don't like Bob. I remember that. And
now, which Bob in particular? All of them?
They're all the same.
Well, they're all supposed to be racist? Different. Then they all in the cloning process. They're supposed to clone different parts of the Bob personality, and they're accentuated a little more than others. You know that sentence like "I didn't say she robbed me," and you can emphasize each word differently, and it changes the meaning of the sentence or whatever. That's supposed to be what Bob is, Ben. Same DNA, different person.
Okay. So I guess show me the chapter where there's Bob that does good.
Well, he's about to murder a Brazilian man. Is that
not really what I was looking for?
Does that work for you? Is that?
I was gonna say, like, show me the Bob where he like selflessly does something for someone else.
Hey, he selflessly was trying to preserve her memories as a computer
for himself, so he could have her forever.
I mean, you know, he benefits from it, but you know, it's what she wanted in her will.
That we only have Bob's word.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. We'll talk about in my closing arguments. My closing.
Is there more to it?
So, there's 5 books in the series. I think he's working on a 6th. This is gonna be my last one. I don't see a lot of people really clamoring for more Bob. So,
yeah, I like Beware of Chicken. There's a chance, there's a slim chance I'll like Dungeon Crawler Carl. At least one person I know whose opinion I respect really likes it.
Your sister.
It's Jason.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
we get Jason and I have similar tastes on a lot of things, so I'm like, well, if he likes it, maybe it's okay. Maybe. He did say like the first book's a little rough, so he told me to beware of that.
So it's a lot like Dune, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and look, I'm willing to. I've given people that advice in the past too. Don't get me wrong. But any of these like sandbox power fantasy things, I don't know. I think I like Beware of Chicken because the protagonist doesn't revel in his power, and in the times when he's making like he's very aware that he could coerce anyone into doing anything he wanted, and he like really goes out of his way as a result of that to make sure like every person knows that they can say no to him, and it's totally cool. And I don't know, I like
Bob
that.
keeps saying that it's totally someone's choice, man.
But if you don't choose the choice he wants, he just keeps bothering you about it.
Remember, Ben, 5 no's and a yes is a yes in Bobiverse.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, it really does sound like that. It's like, did she choose or did you wear her down?
But if he feels bad about it, then it's okay.
Like, what you say is, okay, if you ever change your mind, let me know. I respect your choice. And then you don't bring it up ever again.
Yeah, I'm not bringing it up. I'm just showing you all these cool things that you could be doing if you
And
happen to
insinuating that
be
you're going to
a
die.
brain in a robot, you know?
Yeah. It's manipulative. I mean, he's a manipulator.
But he feels bad about it. So it's okay.
No, he doesn't.
He says he does, Ben.
He revels in it.
He's like,
He
I know,
dunks on the daughter.
I know what I'm doing here is kind of cheating. You know, I didn't bring it up directly, but like, yeah, I did do this thing explicitly to try and convince her to do the thing I want her to do.
Well, if you're aware of that, then why do you blame the daughter for hating you?
Well, because she changed her will completely independent of me, so now the daughter is the bad guy.
You just admitted you cheated. We're gonna be here all night. You have to move on.
I love and respected both of your parents.
No, you definitely didn't. You respected neither, and you loved one a whole lot more than the other.
He was kind of hoping that, you know, one of them was going to be the third wheel. It wasn't him. Whoops.
Yeah, that's... I don't know, man. Like... I don't know. I feel like that's like me. Like, can you imagine, like, me telling your daughter, like, I played D&D with both of your parents, and I will be taking their ashes. These are mine now. Goodbye. Like, were you gonna cry?
Oh, what? You're gonna sue me?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like an insane person says. Like, I don't like to hop on that everybody's a narcissist trend, but Bob is a narcissist.
Yeah, that trend does annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah. All right. So go on.
So last time we left off on we're gonna terraform this planet. It smells really bad, followed by that Bob Mark? No, I don't remember his name. That Bob getting blown up. Or his ship does.
Gasp.
So some other Bobs, which I know you mentioned, like, why don't other Bobs just like help out with X, Y, or Z? Well, they do in this case.
Maybe the Bob we're talking about is just not liked.
They do help this guy out. They're like, Medeiros is going towards his AI core, so they jettison that using little tiny rover robots that are inside of his hull. Also, Medeiros sends his own little rovers over, and they have a little battle. Then they have a little battle between little tiny robots with little cutting utensils.
Little BattleBots reference, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That hasn't been around for a while. I haven't seen it anyway.
I think that really spiked in popularity in the...
Well, this is not that. This is little tiny robots fighting each other with cutting torches. And then they managed to jettison his core. And they're like, what's Medeiros going to do? Where did this Medeiros even come from? How many more Medeiroses are out there? We thought we beat him last time and also the time before that, but he just keeps Medeirosing. So
yeah, how many?
He's just flying around.
I thought the big fight was going to be the others, not some Brazilian guy.
Yeah, well, we need to wrap up that plot thread that you thought we wrapped up last time. We need to just have him show up from time to time and then get beat because that's what happens. They're like, okay, he's trying to get an auto factory in this system, and so he's doing that. Bob tries to prevent it, ejects some printer heads, and yada yada yada. They're trying to figure out Medeiros' end goal is to like destroy these colonies for some reason.
Why? I mean, does he ever say?
No, he never talks to them after the first book.
Oh,
He has his orders, Ben. It's like those Japanese guys on those islands decades later who are still fighting the war.
have you tried telling him Pele is mediocre at best?
Have you tried having one of his old retired generals put on his old uniform and come out to see him and tell him that, in fact, the war is over?
I read. I don't want to. I don't want to detour more. I have an anecdote I read about that guy too, because he continued to write about his experiences. The dude who had stayed on the island, and he got back to modern Japan, and he was mad.
I would be too.
He was like, I thought we'd agreed to the last man, woman, and
Yeah,
child.
no surrender. We doing
Uh,
this. It was a national suicide pact. You guys didn't follow through.
yeah, you got to imagine like every time he walks past a McDonald's, he's just so pissed.
Yeah,
But
now
yeah,
now their military is just us.
for now they're trying to get it back.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose they are. So anyway, they're like, what do we have on the planets to help us out? Leader of
Rocks.
whatever. Yeah, they've got these buster balls that they use to kill giant mosquitoes. Well, that's not going to do anything. But wait, no. They have thousands of those. So they fire him and they get him.
Is that the end?
And then they send rovers in there and they have another climactic robot on robot battle. And when it looks like Medeiros is going to lose, he detonates himself to avoid
Oh,
capture. There's also a Bridget Jones diary reference in here for some reason. I don't know why.
how?
I don't remember. All I wrote is that Bridget Jones' diary was in fact referenced.
Oh God. All I remember about, and I can't for the life of me think of an example, but all I remember is she spoke abbreviations.
I just remember she was poorly counting her calories and using a lot of alcohol. And her hubby was cheating on her with some hot chick who was on the roof.
She wasn't married.
Yeah, you're right. Boyfriend.
Yeah, that was the problem. Like that was her whole problem. She wasn't married.
Yeah. What an awful experience. Anyway, so they theorize like this ship had a different configuration than the previous Medeiros. And they're realizing that there were probably at least three Medeiroses originally. And so who knows how many other Medeiroses, Medeirai perhaps, are out there. So who knows? I'm guessing he just keeps showing up every book without fail, does some stuff that's annoying, and then gets smacked down. And they're like, we're gonna have to set up colonies against future attack from Medeiros. And I'm like, why didn't you do that from the beginning? There's
Why
no,
doesn't each colony just have like a guardian entity?
Yeah, that'd also be a smart idea. But Bob doesn't want to do that. He wants to set him up and then like leave
What's the rationale there?
because Bob doesn't want to do it. Bob
Why
is
doesn't he
Bob is the
turn
kind of
one of them?
guy. Bob is the kind of guy who doesn't want to stick around or do things for the long haul.
Okay. And they've never made a Bob that de-emphasized that aspect of his
No, they can't. They don't
personality.
know how to control that. They just make a clone, and it emphasizes something and de-emphasizes other things.
What if in the Bob reproduction they took like another mind, digitized it? They have at least one other one. And then what if they took like, I don't know, half of the data from that mind and half from the other and smashed it together and saw what they got?
Or why don't they just digitize someone else, make them
Yeah.
in charge of the colony?
Yeah. There's got to be somebody's got to volunteer to like protect their home world. I mean,
Well, no one does, apparently.
did you ask?
No one volunteered.
Okay.
So, you know, take that. Maybe next time you'll think twice before you know,
Don't volunteer.
logic things, you jackass.
Okay.
All right. So that's him down. That's that plot down, Ben.
Okay.
Now we come to the others, Ben.
All right. These are the aliens.
Yeah, these are the aliens. So in the last book, the climactic part, the end of part 1, the end of book 1 was one of them coming across an entire solar system that had been harvested of all life and all metal and basically any resource, just stripped bare. And then they finally figured out where these things came from. They tried to negotiate. The things don't negotiate. And then they went after some sentience, and Bob tried to fight him off. And they were like, they failed to defeat the others. And then the others were like, all right, well, once we're done harvesting this solar system, we're coming for you.
Are they done?
They sure do take their sweet time. So much of this book, we occasionally get a Bob thinking about how they have no plan and they have no way of defeating the others and they don't know how they're going to defeat them.
I think the same thing about global warming.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of aspects of the future.
I know how we're going to defeat global warming. We just fire missiles at it.
You ever think about how?
We dump a giant ice cube in the ocean.
Yeah, that could happen.
We drill it from an asteroid, drop it in the ocean. Boom.
We just move the planet slightly further from the sun.
There you go.
Not too far, but just slightly further. No, sometimes I think about things like, will AI reach a point of profitability before America's left with 1,000 deserted data centers the size of 3 football fields that are probably too expensive to ever tear down and will just exist until nature reclaims them?
We'll turn them into apartment buildings.
No, you won't. Nope. It's going to be like you think an abandoned Walmart is a problem for a town? They don't turn them into apartment buildings. That never happens.
Why not?
Because development on that scale costs a bunch of money, and
Get
they
some
don't
cubicle
usually
walls.
put the buildings where people would want to live in an apartment. Like this, you're not going to 3 football fields worth of apartments in
Hell yeah.
rural
Osawatomie,
Nebraska.
Kansas,
Yeah,
right
like,
next to the state mental hospital. Fuck yeah, let's
yeah,
do it.
the noise ought to be great for them.
It's gonna be great. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
But no, I guess what I'm saying is Bob's not the only one who forgot to plan.
Yeah, but at least these are things that you can shoot missiles at the others to make them go away.
Well, you can shoot missiles at the other and they'll go away. We just haven't found the right size or amount.
Yeah, we need to do that. So we need to figure that out. We need to stop them. And so, about partway through the book, they're like, maybe we should do some reconnaissance. Maybe we should have been doing that the entire time. Maybe that's a big whoopsie on our part. So they start sending in cold drones into their other's home system. We're going to just launch them in, make it look like space junk, get some readings. And that goes well for a little bit until the others kind of get suspicious that there's a lot of space junk flying at them, and so they start destroying all of it. But
Okay.
the Bobs find out there are no fleets in their system. So either they are still harvesting, or they finished harvesting, came back, and then left again. So,
Okay. Those are the options. Yeah.
so they suspect that the others cleared things out. This is much later in the book. They're like, "Oh, we probably should get some intel." Um, so they suspect that the others destroyed a bunch of the drones that the Bob sent in, and then snuck their fleet out of the system in a roundabout way. So that's nothing too big. It's like a 12 light year range that they need to monitor. Like, how hard could that be? Am I right?
I have no idea, genuinely. I don't know the level of technology we're dealing with here.
Well, it's a big deal, Ben.
Okay.
It's a big deal. And
I was going to
then
say, it seems like Bob jumps from star to star pretty easily. So,
it takes time.
okay.
So, and then some Bobs talk to these other Bobs, and they're like, we should consolidate our resources, and then they just argue, and they argue, they argue, and they argue, and that's a whole chapter.
Maybe we should onboard a different personality.
No. All Bobs all the time. You ever tried to argue with yourself or with a wall?
Yeah, I guess having anxiety is kind of like that sometimes. Tried to will my brain to stop doing what it's doing.
Did it work out?
Not yet.
We're getting there.
Or yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? But, no, I guess Bob's not having too much success though. But like, can't like, do they need total agreement? Like, are there not factions? Couldn't like.
Oh, there are factions, Ben. I think that's the next book where they have a Bob Civil War, perhaps.
Well, I was gonna say, do they need to? Can't like a bunch of like? There's room for everybody, right? Like, can't a bunch of Bobs just go off and deal with it if they want to deal
but
with it, and then the other
we need
ones
to
not?
consolidate our resources. Bring your ships over here and your bombs.
Well, get all the people who agree, and then that's what you got.
Well, he's asking a specific Bob for help, and he doesn't want to move his ships or his bombs.
Yeah, that sucks. Sometimes people don't cooperate. I know Bob has a hard time with that, though.
Yeah, you should really try to bang this guy.
Have you tried super digitizing your consciousness?
So, much later in the book, they're checking these daily signals. You know, something flies in here. We just have to check it and identify it. Normally it's just like debris, but there's a lot of debris one day. And it turns out there's 50 death asteroids and 100 carriers, which is a lot, Ben.
Oh no.
So they have to.
Will he move his ships now?
They've got. Well, he won't be here in time now.
Damn it.
So it's all up to the Earth Defense Fleet of Bob. Soul Bob Riker.
What?
Soul Bob Riker.
Is that one Bob's name?
Well, that's what we called him.
Oh, okay.
He's
I was gonna say because that's a cool name.
Yeah, you said he could be a blues musician.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting my chips.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm anticipating an exciting story. I need my popcorn.
So here's what they have planned. This is their plan they've come up with over the years. We're going to intercept them with cloaked drones and then cut them with plasma spikes at close range.
Okay.
And also we have cloaked nukes.
Banking really hard on the cloaking. Okay.
Yeah, so the last time they did that, the others used a giant pulse that identified all the cloaked objects in like an entire solar system, basically. And they're like, okay, we're hoping that they can only do that once, and then they have like a cooldown. So we've got another group of what he called jokers, and I don't know why, but they're going to be a sneak attack after the sneak attack.
It's a real Sam Bitka maneuver.
It is, but it's not nearly as interesting. So they're coming to Earth. Oh yeah, they talked about the golden mean being important because the others studied the Chinese thinking, and I guess they think that the golden mean is important to humans. I don't know why that was important. I wrote it down twice though.
Okay. So they're going to leverage that. So now it's a little bit of Thrawn. They're looking at our art. They're trying to.
Yeah, there you go. And
so
out. This whole time they're like, we don't have enough stasis pods to get all the humans on board this giant ship and send them off. What do we do? And then one of the Bobs is like, wait, we could just fill the ship with atmosphere. I'm guessing that's what they were probably used for to begin with. So they do that. They land one of those giant other ships on the Earth, open it up, which I assume would create a vacuum of air rushing into the ship to fill the space. And then they're like, all right, everyone, gather up. We're going to get this bus going around the planet, gathering up as many Earth colonists as possible and get them off planet before the others arrive to kill everyone, in case we fail.
How long does it take to get them to another star?
Well, they don't need to get them to another star necessarily. They just need to get them out of this star system.
Okay, how long does that take?
I don't know exactly. I know that this is an other ship though, so they should be able to outrun the others. So all they need to do is be
So I guess my question
is,
did you happen to scoop up some like oxygen producing plants?
No. Also, people are going to start vomiting, and it's just going to float around in 0G.
Yeah, they're definitely going to breathe all that air.
So the plan is, we're out of time. Get as many people as possible. Hope that they aren't too grossed out about the vomit globs just floating in the air. We're going to get you off planet. And then hopefully we win, because this one-way trip, if we don't win, you're all dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the case no matter what. So
yeah,
can I be blown up rather than suffocate?
No. Well, yeah, you can sit on the Earth if you want.
Thank you. That's my choice.
Yeah. But if you want, I can also fuck you. I mean, just offering that.
Nah, I think I'll pass.
So they have a battle, and I'm gonna be real, not entirely sure what happened. I tried my best to write it down. Still not entirely sure. I know half their nukes go off. The others use that pulse, but they use it a second time. Bob didn't expect that. And they suspect that the others changed their ship configuration to have more power cores but fewer fighter drones because they can use more super pulses than expected based on the previous encounter with the others, like, I don't know, 50 to 100 years ago. I don't know how long the first book was. It can't be that long, but still. So half their nukes are already blown up. Also, the surprise attack from the Jokers has been found, but it's too late to change course. So we're just going to engage them as hard as we can with our main force and our Jokers, and we're just go for the best. So
Okay.
they're already in system, and they're trying to get a shot off on either the Earth or the ship that's escaping from the Earth. And I do know that they, in fact, fire a shot. It misses the cargo ship, but it does hit. They do fire another one, and it kills 150,000 people in Cuba.
It's weirdly specific. um. So what are they firing at Cuba?
They fire a high discharge of gamma rays that
Okay.
destroys the nervous systems of sentient life.
I mean, I think it would destroy more than that.
Well, it does destroy a lot of things. The idea is their meat is still intact because the others want to harvest that. We want to kill you, but we need your delicious meat. He's typing something. He's looking something up.
um, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out, like, I guess there is a dosage of gamma radiation that theoretically would leave the meat intact, I guess. Um but uh it's a weird ray to configure. I guess it's theoretically possible. You could do that. Yeah.
So they're slowly being pushed back. And something happens. Again, this is not as well written as my boy, Frank Chadwick. And I recall there were some dreadnoughts that Bob launched that were some sort of AI.
Well, Bob is some sort of AI.
Yeah, but, like, not sophisticated AI. And the others miscalculate. They launched the vessels, their own vessels, at the wrong, too late, and a bunch of nukes go off, and they fucked up, I guess. I'm still not entirely sure what happened, Ben. Someone's gonna be mad at me, but maybe that's on me for not reading and just listening to Audible. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Were you getting those gains?
I was.
It was one of those things
It
where
was
it's like
worth it.
you were bored, and so you just kind of checked out because you were doing something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't my fault though, because it was boring. I know it does end with them going like, "All right, we're out of missiles. How do we stop them?" And then they're like, "Wait, those death asteroids aren't shielded against radiation because they're usually the ones firing the radiation." It's like, well,
That doesn't
that's
make any sense.
weird. Wouldn't they be okay? But whatever. All right,
Isn't there all kinds of radiation in space?
but it's not shielded against that gamma rays question mark, or maybe not concentrated gamma rays. Look, the Joker's launch, they go so
Okay.
fast, and their acceleration, yada yada yada, they get hit with their own medicine, Ben, and their asteroids get sterilized, and they're dead
Okay.
now.
Were they organic?
Yeah, They're full of bugmen.
Oh, I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, they were just full of bugmen.
Okay. Okay, so the others, oh, so they're like a hive mind kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do when you have bugmen. You have a hive mind.
Oh. I'm looking things up.
The wiki says Bill improvises an attack at the last minute. Bill improvises an attack that disables the remaining other ship and win the battles for Bob's and humanity. Just finished book 3. What happened? I feel like I skipped a chapter or two.
You were getting those gains. Um, yeah, no, sorry. I'm really interested in gamma rays now.
Yeah, that's what the Hulk is made out of.
Yeah, well, Stanley.
And then the Fantastic Four, they got
Do you know,
cosmic rays.
Like the original Ant-Man, I think, was using the power of transistors because Stanley heard there were these really small new things.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no.
He leverages relativistic Doppler effects that allows the radiation and blast from their projectile weapons to completely fry and disable the remaining ships of, saving Earth. That, okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess theoretically, like,
they launch fission bombs traveling at a significant fraction of the speed of light, which then something Doppler effect radiation blasts sterilize the other ship.
Okay.
So that's what happens. That's what they do. They're all dead now, Ben. But just this attack fleet. And then they nuke the remains anyway, just to be sure.
So why did this go so much better than the last fight?
Because they managed to use relativistic Doppler effects, Ben. They learned from their mistakes, kind of.
Was their mistake previously not doing that?
No, the last time they tried to fight them in system.
It seems like they just kind of like spur of the moment were like, hey, what if we nuke them?
Yeah, I mean they nuked them last time, but they didn't nuke them with nukes that they launched at the speed of light or relativistic.
Could they have launched it? Because I'm going to tell you,
I'm not sure.
Me personally, if I
so,
could launch my nukes at a significant portion of the speed of light, I would always launch my nukes at a significant portion of the speed of light.
Yeah. I think the fission bombs might be new. I think they found that towards the end of the last book, but I don't know if they had them ready to go. But I also don't know.
Isn't a fission bomb what we have
just
now?
a nuclear bomb? Is that yeah, okay. Well, I don't know, Ben. All I know is that they managed to catch them off guard, and the others made a terrible decision to launch their ships or something at the wrong targets. But it wasn't like they purposefully caught the others off guard. Like, they didn't do a Thrawn thing where, like, I'm going to do this and that will provoke this reaction and that will be in my trap. They failed. They did something dumb and then they got blown up and irradiated.
Yeah. We've talked about this before. Like, I'm not going to try to pick apart the science because, yeah, I'm sure it'll probably check out according to whatever he said happened. Yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. I do question a little bit, like, it doesn't seem like anything's changed significantly between this battle and the last battle. Like, it would have been better storytelling if they had learned something.
Like how Bitka is constantly adapting and he fixes his missiles. They start seeding the colony with missiles that are cold so they can't be seen. They figure out what direction the enemy is going to come from. They figure out how to get there. They use their point defense lasers as their main weapon and their nukes as a way of just kind of like shielding their movements.
Yeah, like it slowly establishes like Bitkin noticing like they don't have proper radiation shielding, or like when they fire they have to turn off their radiation shielding for a certain amount of time, and then that gives us a window. We'll provoke an attack, send our bombs, time it such that it'll go through the shields and then blow them up, something like that. um Something where it shows your characters are growing. And maybe this is coming up in your final thoughts, but it seems, and this is a problem I have with a lot of the, I don't know if I'd call Bob lit RPG, but it's a problem I have with some of this like sandbox progression fantasy video gamey stuff. Like the growth that people enjoy reading about is Bob's civilization building.
Yeah.
Like they enjoy that aspect. That's the thing. But the character of Bob, any of the Bobs, it's basically imagine every possible iteration of one human being's personality. That's Bob. He's created every, like, accounting for every quirk of biology and nature and nurture. He's created every possible version of himself, and they all go off and they are all chronically allergic to growth, and they don't ever learn. I guess that's my thing. Like it seems like every Bob ends up in the same place they started in.
I think the only Bob that I liked at all was the guy who decided he was going to stop being called Riker and stop pretending to be like some
Yeah.
sci-fi icon, and he was just going to go by William and be like a normal person. But yeah, I also I did not like the guy who goes by Homer and talks like Homer Simpson all the time, and it's like, boy, I wish you would stop. I wish you would stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm kind of like a really basic thing is like the whole, like, I was trying to look it up because I don't think I'm thinking of the hero's journey, but I'm thinking of like an easy way an easy way to structure character development
Well, he's more of a
is,
flat character instead of a round character.
well, yeah, but that's the problem. Like nobody in real life even is a flat character. Everybody changes, even if Bob changes for the worse. So, like, for example, Walter White in Breaking Bad, he's not a good guy. He starts out as a decent human being who just gets worse and then ultimately loses everything in a vain attempt to maintain total control over everything. Um, that could be a good arc for Bob. See, like it would just be, it would be a compelling story if even a few of the Bobs. I know you might want to keep it going forever, but if even a few of the Bobs had like they want something. So, for example, Bob, who wanted that lady to digitize her consciousness. It's infinitely more interesting if he wants that and doesn't get it.
Or
And
if he
then,
wants that and has to compromise his values to get it.
yeah, it's because what I was thinking of, there's some process where it's like every character has to start out wanting something. Um, and then there usually comes a point in a character's development where they get the thing that they want, or otherwise discovered that the thing that they want wasn't what they need. And then they get something else and they have to learn to either appreciate it or they reject it or they have some emotional reaction to it. Like, I know he's a robot. Like, I know the point of Bob is to take a human man and turn him into a soulless machine that never changes. Um, and I guess I'm just not, maybe
Well, I
I'm
think
not
he's
on
supposed to
board.
be a human in a machine's body.
I don't think he's showing the kind of growth or decay that a human would show. Like, you could certainly descend into madness or tyranny. You could become a sage. You could become a hero. You could need to be worshipped by all these people. Like, there's a million ways to go with it, but this weird thing of like every Bob is perfectly content to just go off alone and play with their toys. I guess I'm just not on board for that central idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people are, but yeah, that's why I've never.
Well, Ben, let me wrap up the book and then I'll tell you my
Yeah.
thoughts.
Okay.
So, we dealt with the others here, but they're still out there. So, what do we do? So, this entire book, every now and then, there's a chapter between Daedalus and Icarus. That's what they name themselves, Ben.
These are Bobs.
These are Bobs.
Okay.
And they're talking about, like, okay,
One of
hey,
them decided to be like the father to the other's son.
yeah, it's. Don't put too much thought into the name because they didn't.
Okay.
They just need a theme, like, all right,
Two guys who make stuff.
yeah, there you go. So
Okay.
so they're flying somewhere, and they're just checking in with each other, and like, hey, after this, let's go towards
One of them
the.
flies right into a star.
Yeah, actually. So they're like, when this is over, we're going to. How about we just go to the galactic core? Like, who can stop us? Fuck it.
Not God, that's who.
And then they're like, they're talking about like, okay, you need to make sure your speed is at this. You need to yada yada yada.
I'm familiar with the story of Icarus.
And finally, every few chapters, or not every few chapters, but a few times throughout the book that happens, and you're like, where are these people? What are they doing? Well, it turns out they're both flying to the other's homeworld at incredible speeds. They both have like a planetoid or asteroid attached to them, and they hit the star from either end with these giant hunks of mass, which then compresses the other's sun together and forces it to go supernova, and it kills everyone in that solar system, and the others have effectively been genocided out of existence. They do, in fact, fly into the sun.
So the others are just not a problem anymore?
They're all dead. Yeah, they're gone. They
Okay.
wiped the entire species out.
It's not my thing, Nate.
I
I
saw
mean,
I saw in in Reddit forums that yeah, there are quite a few people who are like, I don't know if I agree with genociding the entire species.
yeah, it's kind of like what if Ender's Game was more tailored to the gamer, you know? Like what if Ender's Game was actually about esports?
And what if Han Solo were there and he just was getting a paycheck and he just
Confused. Not really sure why he was there. Listen, Ender, I need you to kill those bugs. It's just a game, Ender. Don't worry about it. It's about family, Ender. It's about your weird Mormon family. Oh God. Yeah, no. So that's gonna be my thing, is like I feel like if I were talking to a hardcore fan of these books, I would talk about all the things in the book that I don't like, and they would respond with, but those are the things in the book that I like. I feel like this is just like I'm just not on his wavelength.
Yeah. So the book ends with a moot of the Bobs, and there's discontent between later generation Bobs, and that'll be in book 4 that we're not going to read. Now, back to your point, yeah, I agree. That's why I think I'm out. After reading Bob try real hard to fuck this lady's corpse, her digitized corpse. So I talked to you about it, where we are led to believe Bob is a very reliable narrator and everything he says is true. And he sounds like a guy who in real life would call himself a nice guy and wonder why girls only like the guy who treats them like shit. And I'm right here, man. Like with Bridget, that's probably the most egregious example, where he's like, so I told her I wouldn't talk about digitizing her brain anymore. I told her I wouldn't bring that up. But I am showing her these images of these mammals in this gas giant as a way of trying to like convince her, like, hey, you could still do that. You could go study these things.
Yeah,
And
you're like Satan in this scenario.
and Bob is like, well, I feel really bad about that. And it's like, okay, but you're still doing it.
She's trying to do what she thinks is right, and you're Satan out in the desert telling her like, I could make you king of the world. I could You could have treasures, you could have peace, you could have whatever you want. You could do all these great things. Let me just give you all this power.
It's like you said that. Does he not realize that from Rosie's perspective, her mom didn't want her brain to be digitized, and now all of a sudden she does? And does he not realize that at a bare minimum it looks like you coerced her, or maybe you just flat out changed the will? To which I would respond, no. Not only does he not realize that, but because of how this is written, that is 100% not what happened, because Bob is almost like infallible, except for the few times that he says that, like, oh, I wasn't sure about this, or, oh, I felt bad about that. But we are,
150,000 people in Cuba think he's pretty fallible.
yeah, that was a big whoopsie. But we are led to believe Rosie is just an asshole who's trying to hold her mom back from experiencing joy. And this is what her mom wanted to be digitized in the end. Bob didn't know. Bob didn't know that she was going to change her mind like that. And like now he's just trying to carry out her will at the end. And Rosie's just being a jerk. And so when he dresses her down in the courtroom, that is supposed to be a cathartic, like, we did it, victory lap, you won, you crushed the bad guy. And we're not supposed to think like at all from Rosie's perspective, because Bob doesn't think from Rosie's perspective. She's just a mean person who is being a jerk.
Well, and too, it's like we were talking about, if you were friends with a couple and they have a child, and
Shout out to
the parent,
Momo.
yeah, and the parents of that, something happened to those parents, God forbid, and the child is
I
left.
retract my shout out.
Yeah, you have a disagreement with the child. Like, at some point, wouldn't you want to take care of the child because of your respect for the parents? Because that's what they would have wanted you to do. Obviously, like, they would not want you to be in a feud with their child. Like,
Yeah, and I also wouldn't try to like date one of them.
Right.
That would be kind of strange to me. Uh,
That doesn't scream respect.
right. Hey, I loved both of your parents, but like when one of them was not even cold and in the ground, I was at that funeral sliding into his widowed wife's DMs.
Yeah, and so that's my thing. It's like that's not the kind of relationship. Like if you really did respect these people, it's a fundamental human thing to like you would want to do right by their kid. I feel like that's a trope. Like that's so obvious. It's a trope.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. Like certainly the guy dunking on the kid in that scenario, like you're not. It's not a good look because like even if you're right, Bob, you're an eternal being with the powers of a god. Be the bigger man. Understand maybe that this is an emotional time for uh, the child of the people you think are important to you. I guess that's my thing. You can't just disregard like
Well, he does that all the time. He disregards the council. Like they're not going to try and attack us. Like they're too stupid to do that. He disregards religion in general. Like the faith guy is just an asshole who he's a minister asshole, and why is he being such a jerk? And yeah, okay, he was a jerk, but that just seems to be his only role in the story, and he does that. I think it's just most pronounced with Rosie because it's like that's supposedly your friend's kid.
yeah, yeah, right. Like you should feel some sense of
Yeah,
protection or
he's
something.
real dismissive of like every person who doesn't see things his way.
So I have, and like I've said, I've talked about. I've been hesitant to get into like isekais, power fantasy, progression fantasy, lit RPG. All well, if part of the reason for that is I'm sure, like, and I shouldn't say like I know that there are good ones.
Yeah,
People have.
I think you showed me like Log Horizon or what was the
I liked Log Horizon. That guy
yeah.
got busted for tax evasion, never finished it. Couldn't get a
oh,
third season of that
oh
one.
God,
No,
that's some good stuff. Okay.
but the novel, the light novel continued, and if it got weird, I disavow him. But um, no, I mean there people have curated them for me, and I have seen good ones where they do explore character growth and stuff like that. But I do think there is uh, it's a genre that is more susceptible than most to wish fulfillment fantasy.
Like that one John Everyman who sells people into slavery so he can then buy a sex slave and have a harem of sex slaves.
There's I don't even know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
That
I
could be
know. That's the
so many
problem.
different.
That's
Yeah,
the problem, right?
yeah. I mean, it's a problem in like it's a problem in the romance genre as well. It's not like it's limited to just these specific genres, but I don't know. I feel like in the romance genre, I don't know if it's because it's been around longer or if it's because it's more popular with women and these tend to be more popular with men. Romance doesn't romance gets made fun of all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you make fun of these things for being, like genres susceptible to trash, the way romance might be considered as genre susceptible to trash, um, you're going to get like a lot of people really angry. And they're going to insist, no, it's not, and there's no problem with it. Let people enjoy things, um, and it's fine. you have the freedom to shut off the podcast anytime you feel like I've prevented you from enjoying something. I'm not in your house preventing you from reading it. But I do think there comes a point where it's like if all you've read is Bob and Dungeon Crawler Carl, and like if all you're reading are these things, and there are a lot of people who like they are binge readers and they house like hundreds of these. I don't know. I think the thing with Bob is like it's important that you stop and think about like why you do things every now and then, like re-examine your biases. Like it can't just be pure fantasy all the time. There has to be challenge in there somewhere. And I know that there are like people are going to say like I read for relaxation. I get plenty of challenge in my real life. And that's a fair point, but I don't know if that's necessarily true for everybody. I think I think some people use it for a dopamine hit,
Yeah.
and they're maybe not fully dealing with the challenges in their life. They're avoiding the challenges in their life. I mean, it's preachy. It gets me on my soapbox, but it's a bias I have, and it's something that enters into my head every time I encounter one of these. Especially when it starts to do things like you're starting to show me that um, there's a very clear opportunity in your writing to acknowledge, even if you think you're right, and even if you want to write Bob to be the good guy, there's at least an opportunity here to explore something real.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just like the you invited the complexity by setting it up this way. You knew what you were doing when you set Bob to steal that guy's wife, basically steal a mother from her child, and decide to say that Bob was right. Like,
Hey, it's what she wanted.
right, but you purposely you took that and you're like,
She
see the
was grieving
situation?
at the
You see the
time when I
situation? It's actually
propositioned
not
her.
complicated. I'm daring you to say it's complicated because you would be wrong, and I'm going to tell you you're wrong. And then it's kind of like the same thing with religion. Like yeah, if you make everybody you disagree with a comical idiot, but your main character is a genius who never learns anything. Like I guess one of the differences is, if we compared it to Futurama a lot, in Futurama there are certainly antagonists that are parodies of people the writers don't like, but then the protagonists are also parodies of the writers themselves and how stupid and arrogant and shallow they can be. And in writing they have to challenge themselves to like have a character learn a lesson from some of that. Maybe, I don't know it. And I feel like there's a lot of people who say recently that when I suggest something like you had an opportunity to explore something there, they're like, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to read awkward situations that are going to make me feel uncomfortable. I read purely for comfort. And I'm like,
Then maybe you don't even
I
have
did.
her marry another guy or have kids in the first place, and then he just there you
Yeah,
go,
that's my thing, dude.
easy.
Have your orc open a coffee shop. That's a perfectly valid genre to write in, but yeah, this is like you're writing instead for me to tell you like you're writing for validation, not comfort right now. You're writing to say this isn't weird, and like no, it's weird. Um, if you've ever done anything like that in your real life and you think it's not weird, it is weird, and people will judge you for it. I don't know. I'm not good at expressing how I feel about it, and I don't want to paint with a very broad brush.
My biggest thing is, besides the
But
fact that Bob comes off as looking down on basically everyone and unable and unwilling to see anyone else's perspective and his always right. This is also just not my sandbox.
Yeah.
It just gradually became less and less my thing as it went on, especially when he started trying to hook up with a human woman. And it's like, ooh, this could go really poorly if done wrong. And that was
Yeah.
easily the thing that was like, I think I'm done. I was already pretty much done after the second book, but I was like, I want to finish. Like, how do they defeat the others?
Yeah. Well, and like maybe we'll find with Dungeon Crawler Carl that like that character grows and that character is capable of like being wrong and learning from it. Because I will say that that was the case in Beware of Chicken. Is like Jin is a good guy, but not like the quote unquote nice guy. Like he can fuck up and he can apologize and um he can also be weak. He can recognize he needs help even though he's got all these godlike powers. He doesn't have, godlike maturity. He still needs the advice of wiser people. I don't know. I said, I keep coming up in discussions I have with people. I keep coming up against. I want things to have meaning, and other people are like, not everything needs to have meaning. And I just that it's a tough one for me to wrap my brain around. Like if it's meaningless, I don't know why we're doing it.
And the times that they do try to have it be a serious thing, it's the guy who always talks like Homer Simpson writing a suicide note. So, they need to maybe pick their times.
The only death that Bob can properly mourn is a suicide of himself. I don't know. Do you want to rubric it?
Yeah, yeah. I suppose we should rubric it. Uh, blog dot words about books dot ninja slash rubric. Okay, let me just see real quick. All right, content and ideas, Ben.
Yeah, I'm not part of this.
Um, I don't know, 3. I don't know if I could give it a 4 because the whole underdeveloped thing. Because there are some plot threads in here that really does just feel like on the next episode of the Bobiverse.
What do you think? Do you remember what you've given it in the past?
No, not unless you've cataloged it.
I have somewhere. Well, I haven't cataloged the
Let
specific.
me look at Goodreads.
I think the initial Bobiverse thing, like the first book, I think you could make an argument for a 4 or a 5.
I think I still gave it 3 stars. It looks like.
Yeah, I think you could make an argument for a 4 or a 5. From what I've heard at this point, it feels like we have entered into the kind of content mill phase of the Bobiverse, where it's like you're just here to get another chapter of Bob. These are disjointed, probably published one chapter at a time somewhere. Not really a novel in any meaningful way. Um, it feels very like episodic, and some are probably better than others. So I don't know. I didn't hear anything
Oh
super
wow, he
original.
actually does not publish them as serialized individual chapters. It just feels that way.
That's strange.
He makes this a book.
That's really strange that it's organized in this way. He doesn't even release them on Patreon or anything.
I think it says he only releases like promotional samples, but
Yeah, that must just be something he whittles away at.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear anything mind blowingly original. A 3 sounds justified to me.
Yeah, that's my thought. I'm thinking 3. Organization 3. They sure do talk about this existential threat of the others just here and there until it's time to close it out at the end.
I'm really I don't know if I hit Beware of Chicken with a 2 for organization yet, but I'm getting there. I I
I
have a
think,
bias against this jumping around to avoid the plot nonsense.
yeah,
I
I'm
I
willing
don't.
to give it a 3, but I bet you if I read the next book or the book after, I would be leaning towards a 2 if it's like
Yeah,
this. Um,
and the Beware of Chicken people have told me it's like, well, no, this person becomes super important later, and this person comes blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't buy.
well,
I just
also
don't buy that this is for the good of the book.
Bender from the first book. He'll be super important in the fourth book. And it's like, okay,
Yeah,
but
maybe don't organize it that way. That's
yeah,
not a good way. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Language,
not impactful writing.
no. Language, I guess a 3.
Okay,
Honestly, I'm kind of thinking 3's down the way. I don't know about personal
seems
preference.
fair.
I think
Seems fair.
generally positive, but not your thing.
That's kind of where now
I
I might be generally negative because I'm in
Yeah, I would
well
say
here's the thing. So this is just me backseat driving because I feel like I've influenced you
I
significantly.
don't think I could say I dislike the book, so I can't give it a
Okay.
2.
Then give it a 3 because I want to say I feel like me picking out a part I really don't like
Well, the
and
that is
hammering it and
that is a
hammering it.
thing that when it came up, I was like, "Oh, they're dating? Oh, they're dating." And then it just kept going. And I was like, "Oh, I really wish this was not the direction." I kind of hope last book when she was like, "Yeah, I don't want my brain to be digitized." You're like, "Okay, we're good. Moving on."
I would like to see now again, this is me like I'm trying to have meaning. I'm trying to have something in my opinion something happen in a book. Um by saying like it would be interesting to see Bob actually deal with grief. Because it's like you said, he doesn't care about anyone beyond like the utilitarian like I do the most good for the largest number of people kind of thinking. But this is one person he really wanted to stay around and they didn't, and now Bob actually has to reckon with loss. That would have been interesting
Hey,
to see, but
he also loved her husband. They were
yeah, I can tell.
friends.
I can tell by the way he treats all the people that were important to her husband.
Recommendation strength, I guess a weak recommend. If this is your thing, eh? I guess
Yeah,
try out the first book and see where it takes you.
I
Because this is where I'm getting off.
yeah, that would be my safe pick as well because I truly don't get it. There's a part of me that's like I could read a story about spaceships shooting at each other and blowing up and whatever. But if I don't know anybody on those spaceships and I don't connect emotionally to any of the loss of one ship over the other, like I consider nothing to have happened. But I'm guessing that's not how the average Bobiverse fan sees that situation. I'm guessing that they would find plenty to be interested in like, oh, what kind of ship? How did they fight? Where were they? What weapons? Like, I just don't. I can't connect to it, and I want to say it
How many of their
feels
friends' wives are on board those ships?
if Bob felt harmlessly shallow to me until that. then it started to feel harmfully shallow.
Yeah, I that's a good way of putting it.
Well,
solid 3 across the board. I gave the other 2 books 3s as well.
I think when you start to have feelings like that, it's a good place to get off. You enjoyed your time, and you sensed you were not going to enjoy your time if you stayed any longer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not my sandbox anymore.
Yep. Now it's the sandbox of a philanderer.
Yeah.
Speaking of philanderers, do you want to shout out our patrons? after my amazing endorsement of isekais, I absolutely have to mention Isekai Sensei Sama of the That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast, who I will say, to his credit, has introduced me to isekai stories that do a little bit to redeem the genre for me. So,
next up, you got Jacob Lansky doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Not unlike
Fuckers.
Bob.
Yeah, not unlike Bob.
We have John Bierce. I also went after progression fantasies, didn't I? Progression fantasies like the Mage Errant. Yeah, the Mage Errant. A lot of people who give me money, I'm making them mad. I'd be a terrible politician. But John Bierce, he wrote The Mage Errant, The Rack, and More Gods Than Stars. And I finally remembered there were 2 things I wanted to mention about John.
That he is a Wabi Award winner.
That he's a Wabi Award winner. More Gods Than Stars is serializing on his Patreon right now. The 2nd volume, you can start reading it. And then the second is the Mage Errant hardcover is coming out in bookstores. I don't know if it's still up for pre-order on Barnes & Noble. I don't know if it's come out yet, but I know the bookstore release is a big deal. Up until now, that was not a thing. So it's a really big deal. And if you've ever thought about getting into Mage Errant, that would be a good way. And if you don't have the money for the hardcover, you could always request your library get it, because that's another important aspect of that. I'd been meaning to talk about that for a while. I kept remembering, like, when I do John's shout out, I was like, there's 2 things I wanted to say, but I can only remember the Patreon thing. But that was the second thing. And then, of course, I'd like to shout out Jamie, the Gravy Man, who has told me he's writing a play about digitized consciousnesses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you should write it like this.
Probably also offended him then.
Spooky Shy. Shy with a Y.
Shy with a Y. I offend Spooky Shy all the time, so that's not a big deal. And yeah, I think we got everyone. I think this episode has been a targeted attack against literally everyone I have to shout out.
Yeah. You compared Jacob Lansky to Bob.
Yep.
What if he is a Bob?
I compare him to the freedom of Bob. Jacob Lansky's freedom is not unlike Bob's freedom, in that he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But I imagine that Jacob Lansky is a more magnanimous wanter of whatever the fuck it is that he wants. All right. Later.
Bye.
Little BattleBots reference, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That hasn't been around for a while. I haven't seen it anyway.
I think that really spiked in popularity in the very early aughts.
It came back for a few years.
Huh.
Now it's gone again. My former boss really liked it and went there to
Interesting.
watch it in person.
Interesting.
Even
I
as
know. So I know my brother was teaching a robotics class, but they were not battle bots. Everybody in this particular robotics competition, everybody gets the same materials, and you're to build a robot that can complete several different puzzles or challenges. And there's like a piloted round and then a autonomous round. So I think maybe that's where it's gone to a little bit, at least in terms of like school funding and such. I'm sure there's still a bunch of drunk 40-year-old dudes strapping a pickaxe to a spring somewhere, but
well, the meta is a vertical spinner.
I feel like I heard the walrus guy from Mythbusters talk about that.
Jamie Heineman.
Okay. Jamie Heineman. Yeah, I feel like him talking about, like, I think he was the one that invented the vertical spinner or something.
That doesn't sound right. I want
He
him
was
to
big
prove
into that. He was big into that.
He looks like he would be big into that. Big facts.
He seems like a really interesting guy that just doesn't want to tell you any of the interesting stuff about himself. It's a real paradox. Like, I want to know more about him. I'd love to talk to him, but I know he'd hate me and everything I stand for.
I think those two famously didn't get along, did they?
Yeah, no, they hate each other.
Yeah, they hate each other.
He said, and he even said, he's like, and we are okay with that.
Yeah, we have a good working relationship. So,
and no other kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, and like, somebody is like, well, how much do you guys really not get along? And he responded in an interview, in 11 years of doing the show, I don't think we ever had a meal just us together.
Damn.
Yeah.